Hello and welcome to episode 1 of my stash busting series. I've been sewing for over 6 years now, and in that time I have got a lot of fabric. Some I've gotten myself, a lot of it has been gifts from other people. So I've accumulated a lot of fabric, and it's gotten to the point where I have a ridiculous amount, and I thought it would be a fun series to go through these pieces of fabric one by one and actually use them. The most sustainable thing you can do with crafting is really using the materials that you have, and I feel like I talk that talk a lot, but I don't always walk the walk, So each episode of this series will be picking 1 or 2 fabrics from my stash, and then we will be creating a garment or crafty thing. And I'm hoping to really create things that are usable and wearable and things I will get a lot of use out of. So starting with the design, this is inspired off a dress I saw on Pinterest, and the main detail I wanted to add was the corded waist to pull it tight and give it a little bit more of a defined shape. And then the other main design detail that I wanted to add was these red triangle inserts on the bottom of each skirt. The fabric that I'm using today is a ladybug and flower bumblebee print that I got from my great-grandma's sewing stash, and then a little scrap red fabric for the inserts. I don't remember where I got this one. I've had it for years at this point, and there's really only a little bit left, so it's just for those inserts. For the pattern, I am mostly winging it, which is my favorite way to do sewing projects. There are perfectionist sewers out there, and then there are good enough sewers. I'm a good enough sewer. So the only piece that I'm actually drafting is the bodice, and that is just an alteration of another shirt pattern that I use as kind of my base for a lot of things. So I just changed the neckline to make it square, changed it from short sleeve to a tank top style, and that was about the only thing I did. I started by cutting out the bodice pieces and then pinning and sewing them together at the shoulder seams. And this is how it is looking now. I did not do the side seams since I have to add the tube that the waist ties will go through, so I will do that part next. Here I am measuring and cutting out 2 long rectangles essentially, which will be attached to the front and back of the bodice, creating a channel for the waist ties to go through. I am cutting the channels about 1/2 inch shorter than the bodice on each side, so I'll have room to sew the side seams closed without sewing the channels closed. The next step is hemming the side edges of the rectangles, and this is repeated on both side edges of both rectangles. I then realized that I made the rectangles a little too long and there wasn't enough space for me to sew the side seams closed, so I went back and shortened them a little bit on each side. Switching gears for a little bit before I attach the channels, I'm just finishing the seams on the shoulders and then hemming all of the raw edges of the armholes and neckline. The armholes are all hemmed, maybe not the neatest job, but it will definitely hold and work. And next we just need to do the neck hole, which I have to cut a little notch in each corner so it will fold flat and I can sew it down. Going back to the waist-high channels now, I am sewing the top of the channel right side down to the bodice, and I'm going to do this on both sides of the bodice. Next, I flip the channel over and top stitch the bottom down. This seam will be hidden when I attach the skirt later. After that, I sewed the side seams together, making sure not to sew the channels closed. And with that, the bodice is complete and I can start on the skirt. Starting with cutting out 2 root triangles. I don't have any exact measurements for this. I am just trying to make the bottom of the triangles as long as possible to make the skirt fuller. Now I sew them into the side seams and then finish sewing the skirt side seams the rest of the way. Then it is a simple matter of attaching the bodice and the skirt and hemming it. The last step is to pull the ties through the channels. I'm using a large safety pin to do this. And with that, the dress is done. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I look forward to wearing it all summer long, as well as in the winter and fall with a sweater layered under it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!